Well, I thought I better start doing an update on the scenario with our case. On the 5th of April, it has been 4 years since the accident. Considering by Lord Wu's recommendation, the pre-action protocol and civil procedure rules, not much has been done according by these rules, but somehow when it goes to court, they all seem to think that they've followed the civil procedure rules. But 4 years later, 5th of April, we haven't got any expert witness report on our behalf. We never had accepted the defendant's expert witness. I've never agreed to the expert witness, and apparently the second solicitor managed to take our case to court. Ordinary county court, on the grounds that it was a fast-track case, considering that we've lost thousands and spent thousands on this case. Isn't no logic to it, but there you go. That's the way our case has been managed and run. And even though the Costco's have accepted liability, they've only accepted a certain type of liability, I think legal liability or whatever it's called. I believe that doesn't give us any rights to employ our own professional witness and being paid for it or something like that. So somehow the first solicitor has managed to accept that we only was entitled to legal liability, so therefore letting the defendants off the hook for paying for our legal cost. So the whole case has been in a mess, and it's been well orchestrated by whoever is involved. But I'm plodding along. I'm usually at my best when I'm totally down. I've always been that way. When I'm cornered, and I'm usually at my very best. I was talking to my new solicitor, the third one, about why hasn't the other two solicitor abide by the civil procedure rules in Lord Wu's recommendation, pre-action protocol, and he says to me that they may be the rules, but it's not something that solicitors do. So in other words, the basically, all this legal system that we have over here, they make all these rules. It's like, people who are Corgi registered and electrical and plumbing and gas and whatnot, we have to follow all a set of rules that is given to us. But apparently, the people at the top don't believe in following those rules. So what it seemed to be, generally over here, the people don't seem to fight back or care, or seem to be a very negative approach to this. No wonder these people think solicitors and judges think they can get away with it, you know. Probably there's as many people, innocent people in prison, as there is guilty people. People are trying to fight against the corrupted legal system, and they are probably put away while the people that are supposed to serve in the legal system is just making a big joke out of it. I was talking to one of my customers about our case, and they read it in the papers or something about it, and he was telling me about she was telling me about it. Her brother was hit by a lorry at Meridian Way, close to us, and when he was crossing the crossing when the lights were red, and apparently a lorry jumped the red lights, hit him. He flew up in the air and got killed, and the lorry driver came out of his cab, took a look at him and saw that he was dead and ran away. And apparently when it got to court, they went to the company that owned the lorry and found out that this guy apparently was an immigrant. They found all these documents of him in his car or whatever, and they couldn't find him. And anyway, I believe when it got to court, they slung the case out. They convinced the family that it was just an accident, and that because they couldn't find the guy, there's no charges to be pressed against anybody, so the whole family left it at that. I couldn't believe it, and I said to her, surely, you must fight the company, who owned the lorry, who employed this guy that was an illegal immigrant. But she turned around to me and said, no, well, his wife doesn't want to take it any further, and we feel that we can't take it any more further. And I was stood there absolutely astounded, and I couldn't believe that. How could she let her brother's death go unavenged, Somebody should be accountable, this firm that employed this lorry driver that was an illegal immigrant to drive their lorry. I said to her, if even the lorry didn't have any driver and it was driven by an invisible man and it hit and killed her brother, whoever owned the lorry should be responsible. Or even the lorry came out of gear and rolled down the yard and killed somebody, surely they are liable for it. But it shows you the sort of personas that are in the UK. They do not avenge at all, they do not go out seeking for justice. They tend to accept things, and the whole legal system and the solicitors seem to know their people and think, they can get away with it. Because the people are unbelievable, where I would never be able to rest to think that somebody killed my brother and nobody can be accountable for it. But there you go, you see, this is how some people are, and solicitors and judges, they're getting so accustomed for people not fighting back and fighting for justice. That's why we no longer have any justice, because people are not interested in other people's. I said to her I would try every way to help her, putting it on the internet and putting the solicitors that were involved in the case, the judge and the coroner who was involved, but they didn't want to know, they just said because his wife doesn't want to know anymore, she's found herself another guy, and she doesn't want to know anymore because she said, well, there's not much she can do because they're getting on, both of them. She's crippled with arthritis, but it's a bit of a funny situation. But I will. It's approaching 1 o'clock in the morning now. I feel rather tired, and I feel that I should carry on with this update. I will make other videos on it to bring you all in the picture of what is happening at present. I suppose at the end of the day, you know, why we have a legal system is individual personas, you know. What are you prepared to do to get justice, you know? A lot of people are very laid back. They're not willing to prepare to do much, but yet a lot of people in this country and in the US, if they're given an order and somebody is lined up in a firing brigade, you know, or you're part of a firing brigade and a guy is lined up against the wall, and you say to them, go and shoot him, they will go and shoot him for you with no trouble. But to put themselves out to get justice for themselves, it seemed to be a heck of a job to do. This is what I'm starting to learn about the human race. They're very good in taking orders, as if they needed to be told to do things, and then they will go and do it. But to sit down and decide, this is the justice you expect, before you will give in and accept it. A lot of people are not willing to go down that road and fight for justice. At the end of the day, it's a battle. You don't get justice on a plate. Nobody gets justice on a plate. Justice has got to be fought for. And if you're not willing to fight for justice, you're not going to get it. So that's what makes me think today there's probably as many people in prison that are innocent than there is guilty people, you know, because from what I can see, the way the system is set up, that it protects this group of people for behaving in a way they have. In our case, you know, solicitors are saying, well, we don't follow the civil procedure rules because we probably don't have to, you know, because if we don't, who's going to come and fight us, and what are they going to do about it? You know, they're not going to do sweet F all about it, you know. And it seemed to give me that impression. I feel that it's time people stand up and fight for justice in whatever way they can, and obtain justice at no matter what price. Because if we don't fight for this important thing, that our families, my uncles have died for this democracy, we're not going to get it. You know, these people have died and fought for it. These written rules are written, but as far as the solicitors, insurance companies and judges are willing to look the other way, it's not what the paper is printed on. It's all a load of baloney. So I think, you know, for those people out there, you've got to learn to fight for justice. I hear people come out on my posting messages about they're going to do this, they're going to do that. I can tell immediately they've never been through what we've been through. Nothing major has happened to them. They've never had to go and fight a case where they're badly injured or something like that. I think they need to go and talk to people with massive injuries that don't belong to the triangle. I think one day I will publish and show you what the triangle, when I'm talking about the triangle, I'm talking about like from solicitors, doctors upwards. If you belong to that triangle, clergymen, etc., you can come out reasonably well. But if you are below that triangle, you're going to be treated basically like shit, and you'll have to fight and do whatever it takes to get your justice, because if you're not willing to, you're not going to get it. Well, I'll have to probably do another blog at some time to put you in the full picture as it goes along. Bye. Before I finish this, I wanted to say something to the judge that threw our case out. What a wanker you are. What are you doing in a position like that? You know, your face must be covered in shit licking the arse of these companies. And I feel that this society, no wonder we're having a war with every bloody country around the world. If these are the sort of solicitors that are holding the positions that you all are holding, and making such a pathetic decision from a woman being hit and injured severely, and throwing the case out without even bothering to look deeper into the whole thing. You are absolutely pathetic. And I'm quite happy now to end this blog till I follow it up the next time. What a tosser.